everyone, welcome to a new episode of In Other Words with Danielle and Zara.
So this is a podcast where we talk about a wide variety of different subjects, from trends we like to quarter-life crises. So in other words, we talk about all the things.
So for today, for our local brand that we want to promote, I am promoting Earth and Sugar Embroidery. They're on Instagram as earth_sugar. And basically she embroiders clothes for you.
Yes.
And she can do custom things, she can do pet portraits, all those kinds of things. I recently bought a sweater for Devin's birthday with a little Kung Fu Panda embroidered on it.
So cute.
Very cute. And I really like how it came out, and so did Devin, so that's good. So yeah, check her out.
Cool. So every week what we are doing is featuring listener questions, and this week's question is from Robbie Moore.
Indeed.
Let's
so I'll just play that.
I was wondering what your thoughts are on self-deprecating humor. It'd be interesting to see, just because, well, it's pretty much my favorite hobby at this point.
Relatable. I don't have anything against self-deprecating humor. I certainly use it a lot.
Yes, it's better than insulting other people.
Exactly. I think what we always need to be careful of is that in a lot of jokes there's always like an element of truth to it.
Yeah.
So you gotta just check how you're feeling about yourself. You know what I'm saying?
You're not like joking around, but it's actually how you feel. Like, I'm so terrible, but like you genuinely feel that way about yourself.
And I think also like we forget that words do have power. And I think if you're always speaking negativity into your life, then you can become like that. So yeah, just keep yourself in check. Nothing wrong with it necessarily though.
It's literally something we do on the daily. But
yeah, before we get into the actual episode, how have you been? We actually haven't recorded in a while. We released episodes every single week, but we recorded them a month ago. So
yes, you should go listen to those.
You should go listen to those.
So I've been okay. I had a week where I was feeling quite, I don't know, anxious and stuff. And then last week was a really good week.
That's good.
And then this week I've just been feeling a bit blah again.
I know.
I don't know. It's just this weird, it's like apathy, like meh. Yes. So yeah, to be honest, I'm like not jumping off the ceiling great.
Okay.
But I'm okay.
Please don't jump off the ceiling right now.
I will not do it.
Okay. For me, I had COVID 2 weeks ago.
Party.
Which was really, really fun.
Now you're a COVID survivor.
I'm a COVID survivor. Basically, I had, I think, almost every symptom. I don't know how I wasn't sicker than I was, but when I was ticking things off when I went to get tested, I was like, interesting.
Wow.
I have
feel
every
all
single
these
thing.
things.
And I still have a rash from COVID, which I didn't know was a thing.
I didn't know until
But
you
apparently a
told
lot
me.
of people get it, so there we are. And I handed in my honest research assignment this past week.
It was so good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you. Well, hopefully the people marking will enjoy it
I'm
as
sure
well.
it was adequate.
I'm sure it was adequate. So yeah, now I am chilling really. I mean, I still have, I have 2 classes left. And by 2 classes, I mean like 2 modules left. And then like the year's over, which is bizarre.
And then you
to
have
me.
your honors.
I'm doing my honors now.
No, they
I thought you meant like next year. I was like, that's what I'm doing.
No.
I know. So it's
Wow.
crazy how fast this year's
So
gone.
fancy.
But yeah, I've been feeling like just mentally all right. I'm very tired a lot of the
Yes.
time. COVID sucked, like mentally. I think, I mean, apart from having COVID, the worst part is just the mental stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was just in my room the whole time.
There was only so much Gilmore Girls you could really watch.
Yeah, but I finished Gilmore Girls now. Woohoo! Yeah, so that's me.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're feeling so much better.
I'm feeling so much better.
And you lost your taste or your smell.
I lost my smell. My taste was like briefly gone. And guys,
That's my worst
I was
nightmare.
not being irresponsible. Like, I have no idea where I got COVID from.
You got it from, I won't say the name, but we know that you got it from her. And it's really sad because
But it doesn't make sense.
your significant others didn't get it,
Yeah.
which is not okay.
It doesn't make
Fools.
sense. So, I mean, I could have got it from anywhere.
But that's the thing. Yeah, COVID is very
Anyway.
unpredictable. So today we asked you guys, we made a little survey monkey thing, and said like if you guys want advice, I don't know how valuable our advice will be. No. And again, to preface that we are not experts
at all,
pretty much anything.
No. These are all our opinions.
Yes, and we hope that it's helpful.
Yes.
I will say something I really appreciate and also is very scary is the stuff we got was like quite heavy.
Yeah.
I was expecting like
dumb things.
Yes.
Not to say that you guys listening are dumb.
Not at all.
You know.
But yeah, hopefully we can offer something of value, and we just really appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Responding.
So remember to follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
@ @inotherwords_podcast, because there we post everything, and
you can actually get involved in these things.
Exactly. And I think it was pretty cool that we managed to get questions on here.
Yes.
So I mean, we'll definitely do more anonymous things.
Yes.
More often, because it's fun.
And it's more comfortable, I suppose.
Yeah, and then people can also share scandalous stories with us.
Ooh. We're going to do an episode on embarrassing stories. Yes. And I'm very keen.
I'm keen for that too. All right. Are you ready for the first question?
I am ready.
How do I become more confident?
Ooh.
Do you have an answer?
Well, I think like first of all, you have to, and again, all of this is so much easier said than done. Like there's so many motivational books on like everything, but like at the end of the day, like you actually have to do the work, and it doesn't come easy, you know. It's like I can say, Danielle, don't stress.
Phew, thank you. No more stress.
But I think like to be confident, it's not like you need to become someone else. No. Like I think it's very much becoming comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
Because confidence is about self-esteem. So it's like I think you actually need to begin a process of figuring out what is it that makes you feel like you're not confident or you're not good enough.
Yeah.
Like what is it? And like just start like talking to people and coming to sort of embrace those things. Obviously if it's something like terrible, like you're not confident because you killed someone and you think you're a terrible person.
Yikes.
Yes. But like certain things, like for me, I have always, I think, felt like, I don't know, I've always been worried about how people perceive me when it comes to like, I can be very loud and like I can always have something to say. And I got to a stage where I felt so like, oh my gosh, I'm coming across almost maybe overconfident, or like I have this big ego and I think I'm always right. So then like I almost hated that part of myself. So like I went through a stage where I'm like, I'm just gonna walk into situations and keep quiet, which again, like people are like, are you okay,
yeah,
I'm fine. And it just got to a sense where I was like, I just need to be able to discern when something when it's my time to speak and when it's my time to shut up.
Yes, absolutely.
And like just embrace that side of me and be confident that when I have something to say, it's of something of value, you know.
Yeah.
So I think just learning to embrace those things within yourself.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And yeah, like you were saying, I think it's important to see where your lack of confidence is coming from. Yeah. And I think, I just moved my mic. One important thing to remember, if you're concerned about how people perceive you, just remember that nobody thinks about you as much as you think about you. Yeah. And like maybe it sounds a bit harsh, but I actually find it comforting. Yeah. I don't want to be perceived by people many times. Yeah. Most of the time people are thinking about themselves.
For real.
So yeah, just focus on I think like also trying to be the person that you want to be, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So like getting comfortable with yourself and all that's all important, obviously. And I think there is a level of faking it till you make it with confidence. Like be it with, you know, standing in a particular pose or whatever. I mean, there's so many videos or whatever about power poses and all those kinds of things. Yeah. But I think those are all important. And like I was quite a shy child, I would say. I'm not exactly an outgoing person now, but I'm definitely not unconfident by any means. Yes, I do. But I kind of just got to a point where I have to remind myself that like I do have something worth saying. So like I was like almost the opposite of you. Like I do have something worth saying and I can say it. And I always just have to remind myself that I'm not an annoying person or whatever.
No,
that's like another thing.
Annoying.
You know, like I don't actually think I'm annoying, but sometimes in like situations I'm like, ugh, why would I say that? That was so annoying of me.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just getting through that. And also don't think about yourself too much. You'll be fine.
And I also think, like, I've often said, and especially if you're a Christian, like, it's so important that you find your identity in Christ. And what that means is really, like, I often think when people say, like, oh, I want to become more like Jesus, it's not like you become this holier than thou person.
Yeah, no.
Because I genuinely believe, I mean, you read the biblical characters and they had different personalities.
Yeah, so
and
much.
I think, like, when you're focusing on becoming more like Jesus, your focus becomes more on, like, this idea of loving God, loving others, and loving yourself. And it becomes less about, like self-criticism and stuff. It's like you almost are able to, like you said, like, shift your focus.
Yes.
And then again, just, like, watch your negative self-talk, like, all the time.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
they are, like, you're constantly being filled with lies. And, like, I just talk to people. Sometimes you just need a friend to say, you are not annoying.
Yes.
And yeah. So,
but I mean, confidence is it's a weird thing.
yeah.
Anyway, next one, bit of a difficult question. Okay. I need advice about being transgender, female to male, but I don't know how my church will react. Please help. That is, like, a big, difficult question. I wish I could relate.
Yeah, I think and this is specifically a topic I've stayed away from. There are many topics that I've kind of, like, veered away from speaking about, just because there's so much I don't understand and I can't relate to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I've always been so comfortable in, like, my biological sex, my gender, like, you know, so it's, like, very hard for me to put myself in someone else's shoes. But yeah, what?
Okay, so I'll just take it from, like, assuming that you're a Christian, obviously, because you mentioned your church, but firstly, I would suggest going to talk to someone. I think what you don't need right now is to isolate yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that can sometimes be the easiest thing to do because, I don't know, we've created a lot of shame surrounding, like, certain things that are not, like, acceptable for Christians. So that's, like, things with gender, things with sex, any of that. I feel like a lot of people, if they're struggling with something, they'd rather just isolate themselves from God and from other Christians.
Yeah.
So I'd suggest don't do that. Go talk with your pastor if you're comfortable. Go talk with like, any other person in your church that you feel comfortable talking to.
Yeah.
Talk to your friends. Just be honest with them. Say, hey guys, this is what I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah.
And also keep on trying to pursue a relationship with God. So pray, read the Bible. In everything that you do, try to honor him and obviously seek wisdom and all that.
Yeah.
But no matter what you're going through, you can still be a follower of Jesus Christ. So yeah, don't step away from that. And remember that, I mean, Jesus associated with all kinds of different people.
Yeah.
There's not, like, one type of way that you have to be in the church, but you always just need to be looking to glorify God in, like, all of your actions, everything that you do. And yeah, what do you have to say next?
So for me, like, I think, and I don't know, I can't put myself in the situation, but I often, and I mean, people might say, sorry, you're comparing things that shouldn't be compared.
Yeah.
But I often think how Jesus must have felt walking on earth as a human being when he is, like, supremely divine and, like, living in this world of sin and being without sin. Like, I can only imagine there was a sense of almost a discomfort. Like, I don't, like, how do I associate? Like, yes, I've created man, I've created these people, but, like, kind of feeling a little bit like this isn't where I belong kind of thing. And I think, like, especially if you're, like, struggling with your gender and feeling this, like, not feeling comfortable in your own body and not feeling like the way you were born and the way that you look or the way that you're perceived is not how you feel inside. I think, again, there's that dissociation of, like, I feel uncomfortable in my own skin kind of thing. And I, again, don't necessarily think Jesus was transgender, but
No.
But, like, the Bible is very clear that, like, God understands you.
Yeah.
And, like, again, this is an issue where it's a very, I think, this kind of period of your life that you're obviously facing right now, there's a lot of, like, soul searching and trying to figure out who you are. And, like, God created you.
Exactly.
And so, like, again, like Danielle said, don't isolate yourself. Like, seek the Lord in that, because I think you can only begin to understand who you are when you understand who the person that created you is. And then again, like, I think we are often afraid of like how the church is going to react to a lot of things. Like every time Danielle and I release a podcast, we're like,
I know.
Here we go again. But I think, like you said, the most important thing is to just talk to like fellow believers. And as believers, like, our first thing that we need to like follow or embody is love. And so, like, I look at the things I've done and the things I've been through in like different phases of my life, and there have been key people in the church that have walked that road with me, that have helped me deal with difficult situations, that have loved me through it all. And like, that is the church. The church is the community of believers that are there to support you. They're there to challenge you, you know, and there to kind of walk and do life with you. And so, I think when you're saying like, please help, I don't know how my church will react, I think if however best you can, just like suspend and put away everyone else and how everyone else is going to perceive you right now, and just lean into the Lord and really just like speak to the people closest to you. And it's just like, if you are walking into a church absolutely terrified of what people are going to think of you, yes, that makes sense, because this specific situation is like on another level. But it's also like, I hope that you're in a church where you feel like loved, because that's what the church is, you know. So but it's a really difficult situation. But I would seek the Lord, ask guidance, ask, how do I navigate this period? How do I figure it out, you know? But just know that you are loved.
Exactly.
And, it's really difficult. I can't understand, you know.
Me neither. Cool. Next one.
This is quite a long one.
It is a long one. Okay, considering its history, is it okay to use the Enneagram as a way to provide vocabulary to known or unknown strengths and weaknesses in your character, perhaps that could help you to become self-aware and laid before God? Not in a way that's dependent on Enneagram above the Bible, but just checking in, being mindful of your blind spots. I know how charismatic movements feel very strongly against it, and while I don't agree with the charismatic doctrine, I don't really have a conviction on Enneagram. I personally don't see anything wrong with it, unless perhaps if you over-identify with it. What do you think? Cool. I agree with you. I think the Enneagram can be used, and like, this is with, in my opinion, all personality tests.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know much about the origins of the Enneagram or anything like that, but you can use it to try to understand yourself, try to understand other people, but don't define yourself by it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where the danger really comes in, and this can be with any personality test really. But what do you think?
So I think people's like hesitation and like often like downright rejection and like this is demonic kind of thing is that I think the scary thing is a lot of people will be like, but this Enneagram and this idea is like an ancient idea.
Okay.
When it was actually like, well, I know the actual just diagram was only like the early 1800s or something. And basically this guy drew this diagram, and it was supposed to be like a path to enlightenment. Like, don't quote me on this, and go do your research if you're really interested. It's just never particularly been something that interested me.
No, me neither.
But later on was used like as the format for this personality quiz, and like its aim is to help you become the best version of you.
Okay.
And this is the thing that I like, the struggle that I have with anything that like any human man-made concept, like it can be abused.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it can be used, like you said, it's like if you become dependent on it and you begin to like feel the need to conform to this certain personality type, that could be dangerous, and you could be limiting the person that God's created you to be. But I don't think there's anything inherently sinful about wanting to understand yourself. And I look at it, and like you said, like with personality quizzes, it's like, I think of like, for example, the love languages. it's this tool designed to help you figure out how you best show love and how you best experience love. I personally just never enjoyed the love languages because I feel like mine changes like throughout time, like it used to be.
I feel like I don't have one sometimes.
So again, like it's even, let's just take Christian books, and it's like we take these biblical concepts and we map out our own, like, this is a step-to-step guide on how to like have the best marriage and like
how to be modest.
Yes.
Check out our modesty episode, by the
Please
way.
do. And it's like, I think you could take a Christian personality test, and someone could take different personalities from the Bible and use like logic and psychology and come up with a very similar model, and you wouldn't even recognize it because you're kind of blinded by this idea of like, this is secular and this is religious or Christian. Again, like, people are very hesitant to associate with things that origins are maybe unholy, whatever. And this is it can be understood as a very new age thing.
Yeah.
And so if you have that conviction, stay away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, even the danger is how much you let it affect you.
Yeah.
And I think that's literally with anything. So, and if we looked at the origin of everything that we did, like, we would be horrified.
Yeah.
Like, you're drinking coffee, do you know where your coffee came from?
Exactly. All right. More advice on good financial saving plans for young adults / teens.
Marry a rich man.
Okay, cool. Next one. Okay, I don't really have any more advice because I don't really know much about money. We do have a whole episode on it.
Yes.
If you
I think that's why they said more advice, because they obviously enjoyed
go
the
listen to that
episode.
again.
If you have questions, send them in and we'll do another episode.
Yes.
But I think I've really like taken to heart the things like Simon said. So like, even just like the percentage things, I've actually been doing that. I opened a savings account so that I can separate my money in my mind. The one thing I would say is be cautious, but don't live in fear. So be cautious, don't overspend, don't like, there are like girls in my small group. Yes, I'm calling you out. You get pocket money and it's like, I spent it all on books, or like there's no like saving whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, just be cautious, but don't live in fear. Don't like hoard all of your money because you're so afraid you're going to be broke one day.
Yeah, like, we have to help the economy somehow. So
then it becomes like obsessive.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, don't be reckless and be cautious, like, but don't feel like, I can't spend any money just in case, you know. And then there was one other thing. Just like, don't become too obsessed or stressed about the future.
Yeah.
Like, everything will work itself out. You'll learn as you go. That's kind of just how I've had to
just every month put away a certain amount of money. It doesn't
save.
Like, it doesn't need to be a lot. Obviously, if you're not earning money,
and
then
that's why I think
can't really.
Your dad was very much like speaking in percentages.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so work with what you have.
Exactly.
But I don't really have
I
any
think
other tips.
I don't know. This is not necessarily for saving or whatever, but in terms of spending, I think one of the ways that I figure out what I want to spend my money on, I mean, obviously I always have to spend money on food or whatever.
Do you have to?
I know, surprisingly.
Food is expensive.
It's so expensive. But anyway, like, every now and then I want to buy myself something nice. And let's say I see a nice item of clothing, or I think of a book that I want to buy or whatever, then I always take like a day or two to actually think about it.
Yeah,
and
don't
like,
be impulsive.
Yeah. So that's how I try to avoid impulsivity, because I probably could be impulsive if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But then, like, I'll see something and then I'm like, okay, let me go home.
Yeah.
Let me think about it. If I wake up in the morning and I still really want it, then maybe I'll contemplate getting it then.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep yourself in check that way. And in terms of clothing, go thrifting.
Yes. The one thing also, like, as you get older and you start to buy things, look at the price tags. If you can buy a similar product that's just a bit cheaper, like a different brand of hot chocolate, like, be wise when it comes to, like, start looking at price tags.
Yeah.
And then also, like, be generous. You know, like, I think it's easy to become like greedy just in this kind of society, the capitalist society that we live in. So like be generous. Like I don't think you will ever regret like helping someone out.
Yes, absolutely.
But you might regret like being stupid and spending your money on something that you used for like a day and then you never used again. So
exactly.
That's from me.
Cool, but yeah, just try your best. That's my advice.
Very best.
All right. Next one. How does one approach or deal with people who were supposedly your friends who have now suddenly decided that they don't want to be associated with you because of your decision to not take the vaccine? Interesting.
That's horrible.
That's kind of bizarre to me.
Sorry.
That's kind of bizarre to me, I won't lie.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, so I know there is a lot of polarization these days around many issues, but now like obviously the vaccine is a big one. And I think a good thing to remember, I mean, I don't know who sent this question in. I don't know like how they were like with their friends or anything like that.
Yes.
But I'm not saying that you're picking a fight or anything, but I think both sides of the argument can really just pick a fight sometimes. And it's just not worth it. Like I don't understand why vaccines, why so many people have become like really obsessed with vaccine, like on either side as well. Like either like people are always talking about how bad the vaccine is, or they're either talking about everyone must get a vaccine kind of thing. And like for me myself, I'll get a vaccine, but I'm not going to bring it up in front of in every conversation and try to pick a fight with everyone, because most of the time people have decided what they want to do. And what I say, what you say, what your friends say, it's not necessarily going to convince you or anyone else to change your mind or whatever. But yeah, in terms of dealing with your friends, like, I don't know, just start to have a conversation. Not about the vaccine, just put it away. I don't really understand why they would choose to not be your friends anymore because of that.
They were listening to Jennifer Aniston. She literally tweeted that like I'm cutting out everyone in my life who won't get the vaccine, and that's
to me
unacceptable.
It's bizarre. And when the whole thing dies down, will it be worth it? Will it be worth it to lose important people in your life? No.
And like it's very easy to say just cut them out. But like
no, it's people.
Yes, but at the same time I would like evaluate like just the value of friendship and kind of ask yourself like, especially if those other people for some reason are listening, just like you're friends with people because of the people they are. So imagine if I were only friends with people who agreed with me on everything, and I'm like, ooh, if you're not Christian, I will not be your friend. Like, you know what I mean? It's just an example, but it's like, look at where someone's coming from, and like, don't be so judgy. And like this is not something worth losing a friendship.
It's really not.
And so like if you're in a space where you're genuinely just feeling so isolated, like I would honestly just have an honest conversation and don't blame like, oh, you did this. Just say like, this is really difficult and this is kind of the decision that I've come to, and like I don't think that needs to define
just agree to disagree. Actually, like you don't constantly need to have a fight about it, anything like that. If you go to your friends and you say, this is how I felt, this is how I came to make the decision, I don't appreciate that you've cut me out of your lives or whatever, and they still say, no, we don't want to be associated with you, then
we'll be your friend.
We'll be your friend. If you get vaccinated. I'm joking.
Shame.
I'm kidding.
Too soon.
So yeah, like if they still decide to cut you out, then it's not worth it. It's not worth it to beg.
Yeah, and I also just think that in any sort of conflict situation, just think and don't act on emotion, because then everyone's going to get irritated.
Exactly. And don't do it over the phone. All right, next question. I've been super single for a solid 21 years. How do I do singleness well, especially in seasons where I'm feeling lonely? P.S. Love the podcast. Keep it up.
Aww.
Thank you. So nice.
Listen, girl. I got you. I got your back. There's some of us out here.
Indeed. Okay. So I've been in a relationship for a long time. So whatever. But
for all the time.
But I could still give my advice.
Yes, you can.
So don't rush things. 21 years. I'm assuming that means you're 21 years old.
Yes.
Okay. Unless like you're dating as a baby, I don't know.
Or like you're in your 50s now.
Yes. So I'm just assuming that you're 21 years old. And if that is the case, that is so young.
Yes.
21 is young. A lot of people only get like married and start a family around 30 or whatever. In this day and age, where people
like in the church,
you
just get married at 19.
Exactly. In this day and age where people are living for a long time and you have to study to be able to get a job, to earn money, like you have so much time. And you always just have to remember that like you can use this time to work on yourself, you know, to be the kind of person that, not that you would want to date, but or like that that you'd want.
If you're expecting this great person, then
you need to be that great person.
Yes, as well.
Your vibe attracts your tribe, you know. Yeah. What do you think?
So I think just try, especially if you are Christian, just try like avoid this idea of like you need to be young and like meet someone and like the goal of life is to be with someone and then get married and have babies.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
You don't. And also don't feel bad that you are like your relationship status doesn't define you
at all.
Like I'm so cool and I'm single.
Paul was a single man.
Yes. Yes, he was. He didn't burn with lust, so he didn't feel the need to get married. But like if you are like wanting to be in a relationship, don't let anyone make you like feel like, oh, I'm so desperate, I'm so terrible. It is normal.
It's fine.
Like I want to be in a relationship.
Humans want like a companionship, so it's fine.
But in terms of just dealing with the loneliness, I think the reason why we want to meet someone is generally like the person that you date, the person that you even end up marrying is someone who kind of like fills a lot of like gaps. Not that you are
holy.
Not that you have holes that you need someone else to fill. And if you're in that space where it's like you almost feel like you need someone to complete you, then it's good that you're single because you're going to get into a relationship and become dependent.
Yeah, and that's not good.
So poorly.
Don't do that.
But when you marry someone, it's like they make you laugh. Like there's that humor component. You can have these intellectual conversations with them. You can like there's some sort of like emotional depth, and then there's the physical affection. And it would be so convenient to have that in one person, and that is nice. But understand that now when you're craving those things, like make friends.
This is what the time is good for. Like once you get into a relationship, obviously you don't abandon your friends, but then you have to balance friendship with relationship.
Yes.
And it is more difficult to do that.
To maintain friendships, yes. And so like I would encourage you, if you're feeling lonely, first of all, spend time with the Lord. But secondly, go out and make friends and multiple friends, and don't like expect like a friend to fulfill all of these things, because it's not realistic. Find a friend that you can have these super intellectual conversations with. Find a friend who wants to give you hugs. Find like, do you know what I mean? So my advice would just be like, find friends. And then if you are wanting to be in a relationship, like don't be afraid to put yourself out there. But also don't settle. Please don't just start dating the first person who shows interest in you. Please do not do that. Although if you've been single for 21 years, I'm assuming someone's been interested in you. Yes, and you were just like, and that's good. Good for you. But yes, just know, like, as cliched as it is, like the right person will come along, and like everything happens for a reason. And like I say now, like it would be nice to be in a relationship, but at the same time, like if I get a job super far away, like what a relief that I don't have to worry about this other person. Like there's a lot more that you can do. And like as great as a relationship is, and I'm sure that it's great, and Danielle, maybe you can like back me up on this, but it takes work. It takes a lot of work, and it's not always great. So like just appreciate this time where that's not another, like it's not something else you have to think about. But yes, I'll be your friend. My advice to everyone is I'll be all your friends. Exactly. And also, relationships often sneak up on you when you least expect it. It's like when you're busy, you know, working on yourself, working on your own things, your own relationship with the Lord and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes it just happens. I find often people who, in quotation marks, pursue
the most are often the one who are never in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because they're so focused on that.
There's anything wrong, but like if it becomes your obsession.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And listen, you're 21, so chances are you probably won't be able to afford to like do marriage and be financially stable until like a few years.
Yeah. So just wait.
To date someone for long can get annoying if you want to get married. So you're welcome.
It is what it is. Anyway, last question. What is your advice on a cheating partner?
Dump!
Yeah, leave. No, but genuinely. Yeah. Okay. Some people have made it work with a cheating partner.
Yes.
But if they're a cheating partner, the way that you've worded it, like that kind of implies that they're always going to be doing it. Mm-hmm. It's not someone who cheated once, it's a cheating partner. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So just be careful of that. And for me, I've always said, like, one of the things that I won't tolerate, there are many things that I won't tolerate in a relationship, obviously, but particularly one of them is cheating. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way in heck if my boyfriend had to cheat on me, I'd be like, I could never trust again. No. That's the thing.
Well, you'd have to suck it up because we have a podcast and he's our producer.
Oh, that's true.
But otherwise.
So if you are dealing with that, obviously, first of all, have a conversation with them. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to stick around. No. If you really love that person, you could make it work. Yeah. But you really have to work on things for yourself. So you have to work on your trust issues. Yeah. If you're never going to be able to trust them again, then I don't think it's worth it to stay in the relationship because trust is such a big part of relationships. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know.
My thing is, I think if you're married to the person, that makes it 10 times messier. And I don't have advice. Like,
this is just for like dating right now.
Yes. So yeah, if you're married, like, please go see someone and ask someone wiser than I am.
Go for counseling.
Yes.
You can even go for counseling if you're dating and you want to stay with that person. Yeah. Go for counseling.
But if this were me personally, I think as much as you love someone, if they cheated on you, then they have issues.
Yeah, they have issues.
And also just like, I really like, my heart is with you. Because
oh my word, I can't imagine.
I think you kind of go through the stage where you're so angry and then you're like, oh, well, maybe what did I do kind of thing. And it's
not you.
Yes, there'll always be issues and both people are flawed, but like that's never ever an excuse to cheat.
And neither is getting drunk, by the way. Like often like people will say, oh, it's fine, he was drunk, he just kissed this other girl because he was drunk. No, sorry. Like when you are drunk, you do things that like your subconscious wants to do, if you know what I'm saying. You don't become a whole different person unless you have some kind of issue. But yeah, no.
Yeah, so my thing is just like, you're going to have to learn to work through like a lot of the bitterness and like if you want to stay with that person, like it's going to take a lot of work. And honestly, the best thing, like the best advice I would give is just like break it off. And if in the future like you guys come together again, like cool. Yeah. But honestly, I would break it off because the reality is that the next time something happens, it's going to be like, oh, but you cheated on me.
Exactly. It'll always be that kind of card that you can play.
Yes. It'll always be a weight. And so honestly, I would get out of it and the heartache is going to suck.
Exactly. And it's better to get out of it now than to, like, let's say, get married or whatever.
And then you're always going to be, I feel like you're always going to be insecure.
That's the thing. And then, like, if this person carries on doing it, I like how I just assumed that it was a guy.
I also did. That's actually very bad of us. Sorry.
But I don't know. Most of our...
Dump her!
Yeah. Most of our audience are females, so I feel 75%.
Like... 75%.
It's an educated guess.
Yes.
And yeah. Anyway, sorry to all the men.
Sorry. You're great.
But what was I going to say now? Literally, I start saying something and then I can't remember. Anyway, I'm sure you get the point.
Yeah.
Oh, and like if this person continues to cheat, if you're married, then that's just difficulty because then you've signed all those contracts and you've made a promise and all that kind of stuff. Good luck. Yeah.
But yes, I really appreciated that people were so open, and I hope there was some wisdom. But yeah, like also, and this is just me, but like if you want to reach out personally and just like want a hug, I can give you a hug.
Yes.
Don't tell the COVID police.
I am the COVID police. I was undercover the whole time.
No. Okay, this episode needs to end. Thank you so much for listening, guys. And if you enjoyed this and you want us to do something like this in the future,
let us know.
Yes.
Cool.
Bye guys.